Welcome to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. I'm your host, Margot Levette. This talk show was created for those coming out of corporate. Now you're reinventing to become a podcaster, an entrepreneur. Each week, we bring on guests who give you insight, inspiration, and how to information. Stay with me, I'll be right back. Good morning, everybody. Well, welcome back. Another episode, Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. I am your host, Margot Levette. You know, I usually do not timestamp episodes, but it is a bright, sunshiny morning here, the end of December. And I just feel real cool about this conversation, this monologue that I want to share with you. The conversation is all about learn to play and play to learn. And this content comes from a conversation that I shared with my cousin Sharon, who is a former principal for the little people, a grade school teacher, and as I said, a former principal at a school. And I don't even know how the conversation came up, but as she spoke about the little people, I thought about learn to play, play to learn. This is something that I can relate to as a podcaster. So I've been just like most of you all, I've been really reflecting, thinking back, looking back at this year. I've been doing so ever since September, as a matter of fact. So combining these two conversations together, the one conversation in my head and the one with Sharon, I want to share the fact that I've learned this year. It is imperative, non-negotiable, that we own our voice. We own our conversations. And that we make sure that others know what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how they can get in contact with us. This is so huge. It really, really is. And as a boomer woman of color, I've taken it as my goal in 2023 to usher in as many women in particular, not just women, but women in particular, into this podcasting space. That's my goal. Because you know what? Looking back, I understand that I have taken on podcasting as as taking on my internet real estate. When you get that domain and you start putting information out there, yeah, you are planting your feet in the digital space and are homesteading. Hey, you are gaining your internet space. You are owning that space. I don't care if 50 billion other people are talking about the same subject. I don't care if there are 50 billion plumbers that are talking about pipes. I don't care if there are a gazillion carpet cleaners out there talking about how to clean white carpet. You know what? It doesn't matter, because guess what? You have your voice, you have your way of delivering, you have your own conversation. Own it. It's a hard thing to become an entrepreneur. And we owe it to ourselves to let people understand and know who we are. Yeah, I'm getting real passionate about that because I really came to learn that this year. It's imperative. It's a no-brainer that we take our ownership in this digital space. And we can't say it's too hard. I don't know how to enter. I don't know that it's going to work for me. Guess what? If you don't grab your piece of the land, of the podcast industry land, you'll never know whether or not it's going to work for you. It's going to be a part of your marketing plan that's going to make all the difference in the world. So that's what I learned. Now, learn to play. Where does play come into all of this? For me, I learned that my play comes in when I am teaching podcasting. That ladies and gentlemen, is my playground because I'm assessing the students, those who have stepped up and said, I want to learn how to podcast. I want to understand this industry. I want to find my footprint. I want to grab it. I want to own my voice. I want to get my voice out there. I want to show the world that I know what I'm talking about and I am bad to the bone. You ought to pay attention to me because I have paid my dues. I'm paying my dues and I'm here to tell you that I know what I know and I'm here for you. When I have people like that in my class, let me tell you, we play. We play and we establish, we lay out the bones, the blueprint, put the connect the bones together so that people can leave with their podcast or a better understanding of what this great big industry is all about. And maybe, just maybe, now is not the time to launch your podcast. But I guarantee you walk away with a better understanding, knowing that this is for me. And look out, world, I'm going to circle back to it. I am going to claim my internet real estate. So teaching podcasting has become my playground. And my cousin and I, after we spoke of learning to play, and I came to understand what I learned this year and where I play, I broke down in my own and put in my own language, what is this thing of play? I understand that, it's different for everybody. So what is my interpretation of playing? And I came to understanding that playing is when excuse me, for me, playing is where I give myself permission to find what works for me. So that when I'm finding what works for me, I'm trying this and I'm testing that out. And I'm giving myself permission to, as they say, fail, where there really is no failure. But I'm giving myself permission to understand what's working and what's not going to work. And in this play, I gain strength in sales, relationships, collaborations. I find my style. I find my strength. I find my way connected to how I give back to the world, how I show up to the world as I'm playing, and how I give back to them in the same vein. So I give myself permission to try. I give myself permission to say, this is not working. I give myself the permission to invest in software, myself, in others. I give myself permission to play as I'm in this playground of teaching others. And while I am learning and while I am playing, it is imperative, and I love this word imperative, it is vital that I be myself. So in all of this, laying all of this out together, I always have to show up authentically myself. And that's a very overused word, but I always have to show up as Margot. I always protect my energy as much as possible so that when you see me, when you hear me, then it is going to be charged with truth. It is going to be charged with energy because you energize me. When you are learning and when you are playing, you are energized and you are bubbling over and it is infectious and it goes with you everywhere you are. We talk about the law of attraction, and I had a wonderful guest come on a couple of years ago, and she really broke that thing down about energy. I finally understood, and once that light bulb went off, see, here we go. Once again, I've heard about the law of attraction. I studied the law of attraction, but it came down to one conversation really breaking open that barrier that I had, turning on the light bulb, and I've been turned on ever since. And my energy is a superpower. My energy is a part of my play, and it is a part of my learning. When you can go into learning as yourself, then learning is not a chore. You're taking all of you into it. And then you're giving yourself the opportunity and permission to say, I need to learn this. I'm doing this, but this is not my jam. Okay. So it is a very open, permission based opportunity that you're giving yourself. Learn to play, play to learn. So these are just my observations, and I hope that you see yourself in this. Learn to play and play to learn. Life gets so complicated and things get blown up so big until we lose our way. It's so easy to get overwhelmed. It's so easy to step out of our why, and we're swinging from one chandelier to the next chandelier. But when we learn, it helps our focus. And when we understand how we play and why we're playing, then we're focused and we have some stability. And when we incorporate our definition of play, and it's full of permission, it is permission based. There are no stupid questions while we're investigating this thing of play and being ourselves. Then we bring the best to learning. We bring the best to our business. We bring the best to our relationships. We bring the best to our collaborations. We bring our best to those sales conversations. It's wonderful. I love podcasting. I really, really do. I've learned to play. And yeah, I play to learn. I'm always learning from my guests. And next year, I really want to guest on more podcasts. That is my goal, to be a guest and share what I've learned and impart play to these conversations. So I think that's it. I had to come to you totally unscripted, but it just stayed with me. Learn to play, play to learn. What say you about this content? I really want to hear from you. I really, really do. So I'm going to put this over on LinkedIn, and do me a favor. Don't just thumb up or like. You know, in corporate, we always had to give an in-depth summary or in-depth recap as to something when a project was over, or we finished up something. We always had to give in-depth why we felt the way that we do, we reacted the way that we reacted. So give me some feedback. That's another biggie for me next year. I really want to connect with my audience on a much deeper level. That is my goal starting right now. A lot more monologues. Tell me what you want to know. Tell me who should be on the podcast. Tell me what you're interested in. Her business, her voice, her conversation. I see three different things: your voice, your conversation, you know, your voice, your conversation. It's so very important. So that's it. I will see you next week with a brand new episode right here. Her business, her voice, her conversation. Bye bye now. Learn to play, play to learn. Starts out as a monologue, doesn't it? But you know what? I intend to generate a conversation out of this one episode. And it's a conversation only if you email me or you DM me with your point of view, with your add to the conversation. I want to hear from you. So the email address, media@gobeyondtheinterview.com. You'll find it in the show notes, or freely DM me on LinkedIn or over on Facebook. Let's turn this monologue into a conversation, and I'll share the responses next week. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye.